today we're going to focus on storage facilities because that's kind of a hot topic right now. And so I wanted to just remind everybody in the storage industry, all right, there are, out of 100, if there's 100% of storage facilities out there, 15% of those are owned by the big box offices, right? So big box, right? And 85% of those are just mom and pops. Okay? Right, so that means that the big box would be things like CubeSmart, Public Storage, U-Haul, all these kind of big storage facility owners, okay? So what happened is that way back in the day, I mean, it's growing more and more and more, but way back in the day, even inside the big cities, a lot of the storage facility owners were mom and pops, right? But what happened in the downturn and before the downturn, and then up even through the downturn, all these big box companies started coming into the cities, right? And if they weren't buying the mom and pop shops, then they were building as well too. So if you go to places like, I mean, in the last 90 days, I've been to Florida, I've been in Texas, and I've been driving around. I was up in Tennessee. I'm driving around in these big cities, right? And in the middle of the city, you don't see mom and pop shops anymore, right? Instead, you see CubeSmart and U-Haul, because what happened is over the past decade, they went in and they bought everything up, and they also started building up, right? Started building all these facilities. So now when you're driving through the city, you just see like these huge big storage facilities that are like 3 and 4 different levels. And those are not our competition, right? They feed to somebody that wants to pay a higher price, that wants climate control. When I teach about storage facilities, I always teach about this mom and pop. I teach about these little tiny storage facilities that are outside of the city, right? Or, outside of major city areas. They could be in the metro area, but they're not going to be right in the downtown area, right in the center. They're going to be maybe on the outskirts in the suburbs, or even further out, like in the middle of, out an hour outside of the city or 2 hours outside of the city, okay? And so those are the ones that I'm talking about. So when you look for these storage facilities, what you're going to do, this is a strategy number 1, and this is one of the ones that I teach, is to drive around and look for storage facilities. A lot of people ask, like, do I just aimlessly drive around? Well, kind of, yeah, because the ones that you're going to buy are not going to be on Google Maps. They're not going to be anywhere that you can find them. So you're going to have to keep an eye out when you're looking. So for instance, like everybody teaches driving for dollars, okay, for houses, right? It's the same kind of concept, but it's for storage facilities. So when you're out driving for dollars, you have to be focused. You can't be like jamming out, talking on your phone, driving around. I mean, you have to be like, okay, there's a house, driving, okay, there's another house, write it down or take a picture, whatever you're going to do. And the same exact thing goes for storage facilities. You have to drive around for storage facilities until you can find them. So essentially, I just bought an abandoned storage facility a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, it was literally an abandoned storage facility, but it was one that it was hiding, right? It's not on a main road. What's going to be on the main road is going to be big box ones, right? And even if it's on a main road, it's going to be a bigger one anyways. That's going to be, way too expensive, right? So we're going to search for ones that are kind of smaller, more affordable. We can get our feet wet. We can buy one of these small ones, and we can just see if it's actually it's actually something that we want to pursue on and on and on, right? So that's why you can't go out and you can't buy a huge big one if you've never owned one before. That's one of the things you've got to look for, is that mom and pop shop, little tiny ones that are so easily manageable that you can manage them from your phone because you only get 1 or 2 or 3 calls a day, right? And that is really how storage facilities are if you play your cards right. If you're driving around, being focused, and really paying attention to what you're looking at, and you're writing down the addresses and trying to find out who the owners are, okay? And sometimes office managers will answer the phone, and sometimes the owner will answer the phone as well too, right? But for this tip today, what I wanted to talk about was just what should you be looking for, right? What should you be looking for? And you don't want to be looking for these. You want to be looking for smaller mom and pop shops that you can handle by yourself, and that are really going to be hidden, and they're not going to be on main roads most of the time, and they're going to be out of the city, if not 30 minutes to an hour or even 2 hours outside of the city. Okay. So that is my tip today for how to find storage facilities and what to look for.